Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. In Lagos, it's not sprinkling, it's wet. Let's put it like that. I can't exactly say it's raining cats and dogs, but it's wet. Don't know what it's like in your part of the country. However, here we are. We have important business today. In fact, our guest this morning is one of the most distinguished Nigerian lawyers, and we have quite a number of them. I'm speaking about Chief Adegboyega Awomolo, SAN. He's a vice chairman, body of benchers. He's fellow, the chartered body of benchers. I beg your pardon. He's a vice chairman, body of benchers, fellow Chartered Institute of Arbitrators of Nigeria. He's a fellow Nigeria Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. And I just stop there for the moment. A fine morning to you, Chief Awomolo.
Good morning, Jory.
Thank you very much for making. We can see that you excited that you could.
Thank you.
Your schedule. Indeed. There are a number of things that we. There are a number of topics. In fact, I don't think we have enough time because when we have such an august appearance on our program, usually there are more questions than we can possibly fit in. However, we'll try our best. And I think one of the places that we could start from is the students' loan law that has just been signed into law by President Tinubu, matters arising from it. Now, let me say, sir, before we go ahead, that I understand that you yourself are a beneficiary back in the day of the arrangement, the students' loan arrangement as it existed then. If I can take that as the truth, then I'd like you to compare and contrast with what we have now. How easy it was, what the parameters were then, and how different the new law that has been signed on behalf of indigent students, shall we say, today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Now I want to thank God that He gave us President Tinubu as the president for a generation like this. The signing into law of that bill of student loan scheme is one of the greatest legacy that he will leave for generations to come. I believe that when he was campaigning, he promised that students will be assisted, particularly with respect to loan scheme, so that they can concentrate on their education, advance their knowledge, and build a great future for this country. He has achieved that. I commend him, and I thank God for our generations that even in our time, we can have something like this. I was a poor student when I was admitted to University of Ife in 1974 to read law. And at that time, there was what is called Students' Loan Scheme, 500 naira only. And that 500 naira was sufficient to pay your school fees and provide some comfort in terms of feeding and such needs of students. I got loan for 3 years, 74, 75, 75, 76, 76, 77, and I graduated by the grace of God in July 1977. But regrettably, the scheme ended by the military for no good reason. Now, since then, I have been looking for where to pay my loan. I went to Accountant General of the Federation and said, I want to pay my loan of 1,500. It was to attract interest, and I wouldn't know how much interest would be, but I was prepared to pay 1 million naira. At least it take care of the interest that had accrued by the years. But there was no place to pay it. There was no head by which I could pay into the Treasury or into Central Bank or anywhere that federal government receives revenue. So I thank God that the loan board has come back. So I'll be able to pay my debts plus interest. But let me say that...
Sir, you couldn't hear me. You couldn't hear me when I was speaking. I was asking, sir, was that 500 per month or 500 per year? What was that about? You said it was enough to take care of fees and general upkeep.
Yes, it's 500 naira for every academic session. You know, the procedure was that you will apply and fill a form. This is a copy of the form that I filled in 1974-75. 75. This is the form that I filled, a copy that I kept since 1975. This is the affidavit that I swore to in 1975. This is the receipt I paid for the payment of Commissioner for Oath. Now,
yes.
This is the loan bond. When you apply through the registrar of the university. The university will process it and send it to Lagos. Then Lagos will send you a bond form, which your guarantors will fill. Each student had 2 guarantors. I had 2 guarantors, and they signed for me, and I kept the copy. So what we are saying is that although it was free, but you have the regular record, which will attest to your status as an indigent student. You also have the bond that your guarantors will fill and swear to before a commissioner for oath. These documents are there that thing. The loan comes, will be refunded by the
Well, apologies to our viewers because I did speak about the weather conditions. It might well be that those weather conditions are exactly what is affecting the audio right now. So sorry about that, Chief Awomolo. What is happening is that your speech is being broken up by dropouts, so to speak. But until a few seconds ago, we were hearing you in sequence and loud and clear. But could you proceed, sir, in case it has improved? Okay.
To our viewers.
Well, we're right on this as we are speaking now. But what you are saying, what Chief Awomolo is saying, is not really coming through. It must be satellite conditions. I don't know. I mean, the engineers would know all about that. But our guest is, is one of the most distinguished lawyers in Nigeria, and Chief Adegboyega Awomola, SAN, and we want to have a sort of a wide-ranging conversation with him, and we're starting from the fact that he himself was the beneficiary of a student's loan, and he has just shown us where you can trust lawyers to not be messing around with documents. Can you imagine his document as a student all those years ago? I believe he said 77. It was when he graduated. Those documents are what he is now showing us. Meanwhile, we're waiting for the audio situation to improve so we can continue to hear from Chief Awomolo. But at the moment, it does seem that there are challenges. Can you hear us loud and clear, Chief Awomolo? Okay. It does seem to be one of those kind of situations, but I'm sure we'll get the Chief back. And this should be an interesting conversation, because in case you didn't join us at the beginning of the program, I was just telling you that Chief Awomolo was appointed life member of the body of benchers by the Chief Justice of the Federation at the time, Honorable Justice Mohammed Bello. And he's been a member body of Senior Advocates of Nigeria since 1972. And You also know that he's a fellow Chartered Institute of Arbitrators of Nigeria. Among many, he's also fellow Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, and many other accolades in that regard. Far too many to mention, since we want to really hear from the experience of the learned senior advocate of Nigeria. Can you hear us now?
Very well, I can hear you.
Excellent, sir. So where you got to before we started to have problems, I believe, was that you were just, well, let me just ask a fresh question, but it's related. There you are showing us your documentation from when you were a student, an indigent student, but you have all those documents. And I was commenting that, well, you can trust lawyers to be very, very particular about documents and very finicky about documents. So I guess most people wouldn't have been surprised to see a senior advocate show documents going back to 1977. But one thing that occurred to me was that you just said that you actually were looking for how to repay your loan. You had set aside a princely sum. Well, to most of us, it is princely, but what is happening in Nigeria nowadays, some people take the figure you mentioned with disdain. But you were looking for, how will I begin to pay back this assistance that has been done me by my country? But you couldn't find how to do so. Does that indicate that even though the idea was good, there wasn't any seriousness of organization, if from then till today you are still looking how to pay back your, I believe you said it was 1,500?
My indebtedness.
Yes, your indebtedness to the country.
Yes.
You have not been able. What does that say, sir? Does it indicate that the idea might have been good all those years ago, but it certainly wasn't seriously structured? If we have the situation we have. And how is this newly signed law by President Tinubu different from that?
Well, thank you, Uncle Yori. You see, what I was saying is that there were no continuity of that institution called Nigerian Loans Board. It was scrapped for no good reason. And I believe with the introduction of the new Act of National Assembly signed by the President, I've said it is a new beginning, a new hope for common people, for poor people of this country. At that time, as 1975, when I first applied, almost 75% of students of University of Ife applied for the loan. And we all got it through the university. So if the loan scheme had continued, all the agitations we are having now in universities of poor students, of dropouts, of inability to continue education would have been a thing of the past. So I commend the initiative, the deep thinking, and the speed between the President Tinubu has begun this scheme. I believe that it is the only way by which we can secure the future of this country through education. Now, I was saying to you that I didn't have a place to pay back. I'm sure I will not be the only one who wanted to pay back. Several students who enjoyed the loan will have wanted to pay back. I did everything. But let me confess to you, now that we have a bank for the education loan, certainly I'll be able to pay back to that bank with my name and my numbers. As I said, you apply as a student. This was my application form. I signed this bond by my guarantors. This is my copy, and I've kept it since then. You see, now that we are age of digitalization, or where everything can now be computerized, it should be much easier to keep records. Not only that, it will be much faster to process applications. Whoever the president will appoint to the bank or to the bond must be people who have human feelings, who have empathy, who have love for education, so that the program would be a success. It must be a success because it deserves to be a success. It is meant for the common people of this country. If I did not get the loan, I probably would not have had my LLB. My parents were not rich, and they could not have been able to afford the school fees for 3 years.
Okay.
Feed me, clothe me, and provide for all my needs as a student.
Okay. Well, indeed, it's delightful to know. The only challenge now is that people like you who benefited in that way and wanted to pay back, there simply was no clear knowledge as to how to do so. I imagine things are going to be different, as you just pointed out, with the digitalization, with banks being involved. So I'll take it that you're rating President Tinubu high on that particular score, that, look, he has done something that meets with your approval.
No, I don't need to record. I don't need to say that. The day at the beginning, the day has shown that he's a man who is a deep thinker, who understands Nigeria, who understands the problems of the youth, and who understands the need for our future as a country. Without education, Nigeria will be nothing. Today, India is one of the most educated countries of the world. They produce engineers, and Nigeria deserves to be above, or if cannot beat the record of India. In the next 10 years, we should turn around the face of Nigerian education. And every Nigerian citizen or every Nigerian child who is interested in education will be encouraged. I am aware that ASU and quite a number of few lecturers have made uncomplimentary comments about this program. They were not citizens of Nigeria then, or that they did not enjoy this privilege, which we enjoy. Or perhaps they were sponsored by their community, by their churches, by their mosque, or by their uncles who were rich. But for those of us who went through the poverty line, and there are many Nigerian students who are going or who are on that poverty line, indeed, they deserve to be educated. And this initiative of President Tinubu deserves commendation and encouragement. I believe that ASU should not be concerned whether you now charge fees. Of course, if you've obtained loan, you must pay your fees. So universities will not have enough fund to manage their affairs. I mean, ASU is complaining, there's not enough budgeting by the National Assembly, there's not enough funding by the Accountant General of the Federation. With school fees paid by students, deducted from their loan, the university will be able to be in a better position to fund their activities, pay their teachers, repair their laboratories, manage their infrastructure, and Nigeria will be a better place. So there will be end to ASU strike. I'm sure there will be.
Indeed. Okay. Now let me go from, this is in education and also in youth, clearly interests of yours, but another interest of yours, I think this touches on it, because President Tinubu signed a law unifying the retirement age for all justice. So we go from the youth to the elderly. Give me your comments on that, sir, about this unification of the retirement age for judges.
Yeah, it is a very good idea. For me, there was no justification for the discrimination of this retirement age and benefits and the like. Because if you know what our judges go through, perhaps we would say that the judges are the lowest court, the one that deserves to be more encouraged or empowered. Because if you look at the amount of cases that they sift through every day, and in recent times, political cases have really created a lot of problems for the dockets of courts and judges. So I believe that it's a good thing. But sincerely, I believe that it is not enough to retire at the age of 70. If you are lucky, you were able to survive, because the condition of service, the salaries, emoluments, and the working condition of Nigerian judiciary is the worst in the world, with due respect. I say this with all sense of responsibility. How much is the judge earning? Take home. How much are his allowances? How many of them have the opportunity of generating their homes? I mean, there was a court where rain did not allow the court to see because rain was falling through the roof. The working environment of judges need to be attended to very seriously. And recently there was this act of National Assembly, making the judiciaries independent and self-accounting for their fund. I believe the president should please open the files, because the body of benchers and the Nigerian Bar Association and one of our colleagues, Sebastian Horn, went to court. And there are decisions of the court that says, improve the condition of service, allowances, and salaries of these judges. And unfortunately, President Buhari was not able to effect his promise. I'm sure there are enough materials in file for President Tinubu. He has the record of being a friend of the judiciary in Lagos State. Lagos State has one of the best judiciary in this country, followed by Rivers State. They have good accommodation, they have good working conditions, and they have some level of financial support that makes them comfortable. So I will be pleading with President Tinubu that what he did in Lagos, he should replicate it all over Nigeria for judiciary, because judiciary is the last hope of the country, and I commend his efforts so far.
Indeed. Now, let me just, at this juncture, also ask your opinion on, commentary that we get. Everything you said about judges, most right-thinking members of society will say spot on, but there also have been complaints about the judiciary, and in any case, it is people, professional people in this case, who make up the judiciary. And some aspects of the judiciary has not quite been up to what some might think of as the moral standard that we should be taking for granted. Now, as I said, this is public commentary. I don't know, one, if you've heard of that, and two, what you think of such insinuations, shall we say, because we all depend on the judiciary for the smooth running of society.
Thank you. Justice is rooted in confidence. And confidence we are talking about is confidence of the common man in the streets. There is a saying that judiciary is the last hope of the common man.
Right.
There is pervasive corruption in this country, no doubt about that, from the top to the bottom. And there is fight against this corruption by all institutions and all men of good desire for Nigeria. But Nigeria gets what the judiciary he deserves. I mean, imagine what was being said in the National Assembly lately. Imagine what people are saying about judges collecting bribes and the rest of them. It may be true. I am a Nigerian. It may be true. But I must confess to you, there are men and women of highest integrity on the bench. These are men and women who swore to the oath to be honest and to uphold the integrity of judiciary and the Constitution and the law. There are many of them. I've been in legal practice for over 45 years, and I know quite a number of them. I can tell you that I can beat my chest and say, in all my 45 years, I've never bribed any judge in my life, and I will never do so till I die. So there are many judges who are very good. There are many judges who can never compromise the integrity of judiciary and justice. We need to encourage them. And then we also need to fish out those few ones who are bringing bad names to the judiciary. They are there. I mean, there were recent decisions that I, as a lawyer, cannot justify. I cannot defend it. But then, it's not everything that we must ascribe to corruption. Sometimes errors occur from time to time because they are human. And come to talk of judgments and justices, we must also give them the opportunity to believing that they can be human.
Indeed.
And where there are errors like that, that's sort of because to err is human.
Indeed.
So, but in all, I can say that majority of Nigerian judges are men of integrity, men of learning. And, you know, some years ago when I attended Commonwealth law conferences all over the world, including IBA conferences, jurists of all other jurisdictions, they ask for judgments of our Supreme Court because they believe that these are judgments that were rich in knowledge of learning of the law, jurisprudence, and worthy of being copied. So I want to believe that
IBA being the International Bar Association. You spoke about IBA.
Oh, yes.
International Bar Association.
Yes, International Bar. You are right.
Indeed,
and the Commonwealth Law Conference I'm talking about are the...
I was going to beg your pardon because I have to go on a break right now. I beg your pardon, Chief Abomola. I have to go on a break right now, but we'll be back in a jiffy so we can continue this very interesting conversation. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back.